Hey, it's Dave Wyman from Wyman Bob. It's time for Football 101. Good to get back into it, especially with a victory 17-16 over the Broncos. The Seahawks just really a big surprise in some ways and not so much in others. But one of the things that wasn't surprising was that you were going to see a lot of young guys playing and, lots of rookies and lots of rookie mistakes. But that's okay. You have to kind of grind through those. KJ Wright started as a rookie. Richard Sherman started as a rookie. So, you just kind of have to go through the growing pains. And Tariq Woolen was a great example of how, he gets the pass interference call. Then he covers it and does a great job. Then he gets another one. And then, he comes back and makes a great play in the running game. And we're going to see, I just got a little drawing here about what we're going to talk about is keeping the edge on the defense. And what that means is what we used to call force. And that force means that you're the guy that turns every running play back inside because everybody's coming from the inside to the outside. And I was an inside linebacker, and when guys out on the edge didn't turn it back in, it used to drive me crazy. So I'm like, look, just get to the outside and make sure the run cuts back. And that's where, what I used to tell my kids when I coached them, that's where all the bad people are. The defensive linemen, the linebackers, they're all trying to, you want to force it back to them. So there was a couple times that didn't get done, and then it did get done. So two examples, and here we go with Boye Mafe and Tariq Woolen. Two rookies, right? So this was, one of those situations. Now, a couple of things here. So Boye Mafe is supposed to be the edge guy. He's out, and actually Tariq Woolen was back a little bit further. But, he's clearly the guy that should turn it back in. Well, what happens is you get a motion and what's called a crack block. Now, two things. Number one, and so here the receiver comes in motion, right, as pre-snap. 53, you have to be aware of that. Boye Mafe, young guy again, rookie, needs to be aware that if this guy seals me off, the ball's going to get out the gate. And that's what ends up happening. So that's one thing, it's his awareness. Another thing that I didn't see happening is Tariq Woolen should be screaming out, crack, 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 warning him that there's a crack block. So what ends up happening is that he comes here and totally seals him off. Another thing that happens about playing the edge, and sorry we got the short board here today, but the fullback comes and he's the blocker on Tariq Woolen. Well, Tariq, he gets a little bit too much of the blocker. You need to come up and take on that block so that you keep your outside hand and your outside leg free. But instead, he kind of goes right down the middle of him. So instead of staying out here and turning it back in, because everybody's flowing this way, he ends up getting too much of this guy. And so the running back ends up getting out the gate for 12 yards. So that was just an example of rookie mistakes and something that just needs to get done in this defense. Flip it around here the other way, I should say. And we're going to take a look at, this is, I think, the first or second play in the third quarter. Right after halftime, they really did a good job of making some adjustments, and some of the mistakes that they made in the first half, they didn't make in the second half. And really for another young guy, Darrell Taylor, he had a lot of those type of plays where he didn't keep the edge, but the guy that did and ended up being NFC Defensive Player of the Week, Uchenna Nwosu. He played his tail off, obviously, and then also he just did a lot of things right. So the other thing, too, is now you've got Diggs here. So I said earlier that the defensive back should call out crack block. If Diggs was over there in that situation instead of Tariq Woolen, he would have made the call. He would have said, hey, here it comes, and yell out crack, crack, crack. So, that didn't get done, but, that will get done eventually. But Diggs would have never missed something like that. But what happened on this, and Darrell Taylor ends up making the play, but, Uchenna just entirely takes this guy on. And like I said earlier, he kept the outside arm, outside leg free so that everything ended up turning back inside. And then Jordan Brooks gets over the top here, and he ends up hitting the fullback right there. Same thing, takes it on with leverage. But the thing that really, and we heard from Shelby Harris after the game that he was made a couple comments about being traded to the Seahawks and how he made them pay for it. So he takes his guy and marches him all the way in the backfield. Al Woods takes the center and marches him in the backfield. Same thing with Poona Ford, and then you've got Darrell Taylor coming off the edge on the backside. But this whole thing happens because Uchenna Nwosu, Jordan Brooks, the corner also, they turned everything back inside. Let's take a look at it on film. All right, so here's the first play with Boye Mafe right there on the edge, and then you see also that you've got Tariq Woolen out there, and we talked about that young guys, he's going to learn from this. So let's take a look at it. The receiver was out here, and he ends up coming in, and that's the crack that we talked about. And then, like I said, Boye Mafe needs to be aware of that, or he needs to get a call from him. So, they're kind of set up for failure right from the beginning. So that's just, something that they'll fix later, but that was kind of what happened here. Pretty easy to coach that up, and the good news is it's easy to fix. But here's how it happens, and there's Boye Mafe getting pinned right there. And we call it pinned or sealed off, but the receiver gets the block right there. So, and the other thing is, it made it tough for Jordan Brooks to get over the top. So, because this tackle had a free release, and then here comes the fullback, and you've got one guy entirely taken out of the play, and that's Boye Mafe, and I'm pretty sure that he was the only guy that had force on that. So here we go. We end up getting the edge right there and out the gate right here. And this is what I was talking about, Tariq Woolen right here. That's where he takes on a little bit too much, because here's the ball carrier right here, and he takes on too much of this block. He kind of gets down the middle of him rather than getting to the outside. He should hit him with his left shoulder on the blocker's left shoulder. So he's all the way outside. And then here you go, and I think Jordan Brooks ends up making the tackle, but this is a 12-yard pickup, so that's what happens. And we'll look at a play next, the one I drew, that it's a 2-yard loss. So it's a little thing, and I think it can be fixed. So like I said, the good news is that right there can be fixed. It's a 12-yard gain right there. Let's look at the other one. So this is the second play of the first half, I think, first or second. NFL Rewind, for some reason, doesn't have the timestamp and everything on it. But first of all, you can see Nwosu is, pretty well positioned right there. He's outside a little bit more. And then again, like I said, there's Quandre Diggs. So if this receiver had come down here and tried to pin him, I guarantee you that he would have said something to Uchenna Nwosu there. So really good job by him. And let's take a look at the defensive line and just the penetration that they get. Oh my gosh, this is, you look at right here, they're basically camping out in the backfield of the Denver Broncos. See the offensive lineman all the way in the backfield right here. Again, here's Uchenna just entirely owning the edge right there. He's got the tight end right there. It's just an eye right. It's two guys in the backfield, and just did a really good job there of sealing that. And then when you get this much penetration and Darrell Taylor coming off the backside, it's a successful play. And so here we go. We got a successful play. 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage. You've got 4 green jerseys right there. Right there, Shelby Harris doing a really good job. You've got Jordan Brooks got over the top. So yeah, they're all in perfect position. You can see the running backs thinking, there's nowhere to go. So really good job on the edge on that play. It was a good, I liked that in the first half is where they made a lot of those mistakes. In the second half, they came in and shut them out the second half. Didn't score, a couple of goal line stands, but really good job by the Seahawks defense. Good start, lots of mistakes, but that's going to happen when you have young guys.